In a world where progress never sleeps, one company stands out as the driving force behind infrastructure and energy solutions. Introducing our fuel company and cement producer, where excellence meets efficiency. Jar Oil. The company have 30 filling stations across the country that are all operating, which includes the recently completed Yarambamba and Old Yundum filling stations. And our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Along the years, Jar Oil introduces importation and distribution of cement in their line of business to diversify and strengthen their operations. Are you a cement retailer? At the moment, Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market. With a focus on sustainability and innovation, we are paving the way for a greener, stronger future. Trust in us to fuel your projects and lay the groundwork for success. We currently produce over 25,200,000 bags per year. As the largest cement producer in the country, Jar Oil also targets to export cement to the neighboring countries like Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and others. Join us on our journey to shape a world where every drop of fuel and every bag of cement makes a difference. Together, we can build a brighter tomorrow.
Diaspora Gambians and opposition politicians are accusing Gambian authorities of further disenfranchising their Muslim and Christian compatriots outside the country by maintaining or placing unjustified obstacles that limit their ability to take part in upcoming elections from abroad. It follows the decision of a majority of National Assembly members to vote against a provision in a proposed electoral law that sought to give Gambian immigrants the right to vote in elections in their country of birth. Well, overnight I have heard from Musa, Jeng and Samba. But first, with a report on how the decision was made in Parliament on Tuesday, Samba.
Honorable members, now clause 14 is removed.
That announcement by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Fabakary Tombonjata, to remove clause 14 of the Election Bill 2021 during its consideration on Tuesday did not go down well with 14 National Assembly members who wanted the retention of this clause. However, their votes weren't enough, as 25 of their colleagues, most of whom from the ruling NPP, voted against their retention wish, arguing that the clause is not in conformity with the Constitution of the Gambia. Clause 14 of this significant bill outlined the procedures and processes to be taken by the Independent Electoral Commission to register eligible Gambians living abroad to give them the right to vote in elections, referenda, or any other elections as determined by the Constitution or any other law. The clause also mandates the Commission to make further rules for that purpose. Before the vote in Parliament, the divided lawmakers engaged in heated debates. Honorable Suleiman Saho, National Assembly member for Central Baribu, was one of the 14 names that wanted the clause to be retained. He began his argument by quoting Section 39 of the 1997 Constitution.
Every citizen of the Gambia, being 18 years or older and of sound mind, shall have the right to vote for the purpose of election of a president and members of the National Assembly, and shall be entitled to be registered as a voter in a National Assembly, in a National Assembly constituency for that purpose. For that purpose, that doesn't mean that the person must be a resident of that constituency. No, that's not the interpretation, my brothers and sisters. Now, and at the same time, these people are bona fide citizens. Once they have the birth certificate or ID or passport, they should be registered. We are denying them. My friend, look at the sub-region, what is happening.
Honorable Saho's argument was in response to Honorable Seni Jawara, National Assembly member for Lower Salom, who stated that the Constitution does not allow diaspora voting, arguing that such a clause can only be included after a constitutional amendment. Making a similar argument is Honorable Abdullah Sise, member for Old Yundum and Deputy Majority Leader of the Assembly.
He's talking about registration of Gambians living abroad. Now, we are connecting this to Section 39 of the Constitution, unless we are cleared. But I think we need to look at it. Because the registration process that you're talking about, and somebody who lives in the United States of America is a Gambian, yes, I agree, comes from All-Indian constituency. You understand? How is that person going to be registered on the All-Indian constituency living in America? Now, the process you are talking about, you are saying IEC will go there and register them to vote on the All-Indian constituency. I think that is now the point of contention. We are saying that is what we are saying. We said that has no connection with Section 39 of the Constitution. Because they don't live in the Gambia. They are not living around here.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dado Ejala, said even if the clause on the debate is allowed to pass, IEC will not be able to implement it for the diaspora until they demarcate the diaspora into a constituency.
Section 39 was interpreted by the Supreme Court in Bakari Punjadabo case, but it confirms the right of Gambians to be registered to vote. But the fact of the matter is, one, Section 39(1) is an entrenched clause, and it says you should be registered in a National Assembly constituency. This is true. The diaspora is not in the National Assembly constituency. National Assembly constituencies are under Section 88, 53 currently. Now, even if this clause is allowed to pass, IEC will not be able to implement it for the diaspora until they demarcate the diaspora into a constituency. And hold on, and that means Section 88 have to be amended, all right, to increase the number of National Assembly constituencies in order to be able to allow the diasporans to register to vote. So, is the situation of the chicken and the egg? Do you give them the authority now to demarcate? And then, because again, I take the historical context. When this bill was presented, there was also draft constitution in progress. It was believed that the draft constitution would have adequately covered some of these inadequacies that are contained here.
Meanwhile, the consideration stage of this bill is following its first reading on the 22nd of March 2021 and subsequently its second reading on the 29th of March 2021. The bill was referred to a joint committee for scrutiny and report to the plenary. However, due to the incompletion of the task by the joint committee, the bill was carried forward to the 6th Legislature Assembly by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Daura Jallow. Reporting for West Coast Radio, I am Samba.
Good morning, Peter, and good morning to all your listeners. Peter, unfortunately, something happened at the National Assembly yesterday. Peter, the biggest charade, the biggest betrayal, and the biggest dishonesty that was leveled against Gambians living in the diaspora. Peter, long time ago, during the time of Jammeh, there was always this talk, especially directed at us, that yendengena sonal sen bopa, change will not happen, and when everything is said and done, Gambians si jaruñ ko. We did not listen. Some of our own people paid the ultimate price. There is no one, no honest Gambian, that can look at and witness the change that happened and can basically ignore the role that we played in bringing about this fundamental change. Peter, the biggest charade yesterday at the National Assembly, I never thought something like this that could happen. Somehow, hiding behind the Constitution to deny the very people that fought for the very political climate that these people enjoy today. We invested in this change. We fought for this change. And Peter, what was so disappointing is when I listened to the Attorney General making the argument, the insinuations, that somehow because of the stipulations that the Constitution, the current Constitution only talk about 53 constituencies, and that the diaspora is not demarcated yet as a constituency. So basically, voting for this Election Act would be violating the Constitution, at least making the insinuation. And I would want to remind the Attorney General that it wasn't too long ago that I thought we had 48 constituencies that the IEC went ahead, redemarcate Combo North And we ended up with 53 constituencies. And all they did was do the redemarcation, take it to the National Assembly, and was voted. And the same thing could have been done. And the worst of it, Peter, anyone who witnessed it, the role that the speaker played, he deliberately kept framing the argument that some people are allegedly saying the fact that there are 53 constituencies, passing the act will not be in line with the Constitution, basically saying that it will be violating the Constitution. And he kept repeating it. He would not even, Peter, allow for anyone to contradict the biased statement that he kept making. This was deliberate. This was planned. And it's unfortunate. And it's unfair. And Peter, there is no doubt, there is absolutely no doubt that the NPP, the NRP, I don't even want to mention the APRC. They are the very parties that are not they are not interested in diaspora voting. And they're willing to do everything to make sure that the diaspora doesn't vote, that the diaspora doesn't participate in the political process. And the only question that I have for these parties is why? The NRP of all parties, Ahmad Ba, the very leader of the party, we worked with Ahmad Ba. We brought Ahmad Ba to Atlanta. We brought Ahmad Ba to Raleigh. Ahmad Ba was a partner with us that fought relentlessly to bring about change in the Gambia. For Ahmad Ba's party to vote against diaspora participation, that's a betrayal. And I'm going to call out Alhaji Mbow, National Assembly member from Upper Salom. He lived here in Atlanta with us. And I just hope that Alhaji Mbow did not vote to deny the diaspora from participating. But you know what, Peter, the reality is this. The diaspora is going to remember this vote. And the diaspora is going to make sure that we are going to hold the people accountable for denying us to participate in this process. When everything is said and done, we will come together and we will bring back change in 2026. We have done it before and we can do it again. I know. We are not a monolithic group and God knows we have our differences. But when everything is said and done, we came together in 2016, we spoke with one voice and we brought change. And there is no doubt that we can do it again, that we will come together and we will bring about the very change that every Gambian will be able to participate in this process. We will do that, inshallah. And Peter, thanks again for the opportunity.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning to all the listeners. Peter, the decision by members of the National Assembly, and let me be very clear, supporters of President Barrow, to deny Gambians in the diaspora the right to vote is an utter slap in the face of diasporans who continue to show nothing but patriotism and love for country. Peter, there is nothing more disconcerting, more dishonest than the suggestion that for the diaspora to vote, there would need to be an amendment of the Constitution, that they cannot be registered without the diaspora being demarcated as a constituency. Peter, an elementary understanding of the Constitution rejects that very myopic suggestion. Peter, every Gambian in the diaspora came from a constituency. The only time that there would be a need for a demarcation of a constituency for the registration of Gambian diasporans is if we were to vote in a National Assembly election. Peter, what we are asking for is for an opportunity to exercise a right that is guaranteed by our Constitution for us to participate in determining who runs our country as president. Peter, we all knew that President Barrow and his clique, just like Jammeh before him, have had no interest in having the diaspora to vote. Because in their thinking, the diaspora does not support them. But Peter, what is sad though, is the way that our National Assembly members have reduced that important institution into a mockery. The way that they conducted themselves. You would think that this is a child's play, when hundreds of thousands of Gambians' rights to participate in determining who their president is supposed to be was at stake. The clowning from members, the unserious debate, and of course, the insulting framing of the question that was put to them by the speaker, in which they decided, no, we'll have to reject clause 14 of the elections bill. But Peter, there is something more telling, and that is that only 39 out of 58 members of the National Assembly were present or voted, begging the question, where are the other 18? Because the speaker was present, making it 40 members who we pay our money to represent us and our interest. But Peter, the National Assembly members are interested in nothing other than enriching themselves or running around the world attending other meetings. When sessions that deal with the livelihood of the Gambian people are substituted for per diems. Peter, Section 112, subsection B of our Constitution, states that all members shall regard themselves as servants of the people of the Gambia, desist from any conduct by which they seek improperly to enrich themselves or alienate themselves from the people, and shall discharge their duties and function in the interest of the nation as a whole, and in doing so shall be influenced by the dictates of conscience and national interest. Peter, unfortunately, most of those sitting at our National Assembly, most of these so-called honorable men and women, are dictated not by conscience and national interest, but by how much money gets in their pocket. Lest we forget, most of those who voted against the bill were easily bought by President Barrow during the last session or last term of the National Assembly, when he gave them $10,000, a measly $10,000 a month. This is a dark day for Gambia, a dark day for democracy, and a dark day for the Gambia that we all fought for, the Gambia that we yearn for, the Gambia of democracy and liberty for all. Peter, these people, from President Barrow to most of the people in his cabinet, were howling and clamoring for diaspora vote when they were not in power. Today have forgotten everything that they ever said about this matter. And I hope that they are happy with their decision to deny the most productive group of citizens, the diasporans, who continue to keep that country afloat economically, who continue to show nothing but unwavering love for country and people. With
that. In a world where progress never sleeps, one company stands out as the driving force behind infrastructure and energy solutions. Introducing our fuel company and cement producer, where excellence meets efficiency. Jar Oil. The company have 30 filling stations across the country that are all operating, which includes the recently completed Yarambamba and Old Yundum filling stations. And our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Along the years, Jar Oil introduces importation and distribution of cement in their line of business to diversify and strengthen their operations. Are you a cement retailer? At the moment, Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market. With a focus on sustainability and innovation, we are paving the way for a greener, stronger future. Trust in us to fuel your projects and lay the groundwork for success. We currently produce over 25,200,000 bags per year. As the largest cement producer in the country, Jaha Oil also targets to export cement to the neighboring countries like Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and others. Join us on our journey to shape a world where every drop of fuel and every bag of cement makes a difference. Together, we can build a brighter tomorrow.